Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahabushai, Bahasham, Rakakodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off with Isaiah chapter 60, verse 18. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise. And this is talking about when the true children of Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, are back in the Holy Land. Violence will no more be heard in the land or against the children of Israel. But as we'll see from an article on RT.com, those people over in the land right now clearly aren't the true children of Israel. And the title reads, Rockets fired on Jerusalem, an attack claimed by Hamas after clashes between Israelis and Palestinians. And does this sound like violence no more being heard in the land when the true children are there? Of course not, because those people over there right now are actually Amalekite Edomites. And when you look at all the prophecies dealing with the true children of Israel when they're back in the land and what would happen, those Amalekite Edomites don't fit any of those prophecies. Hey, but to you Amalekites out there, don't feel too bad. You do fit some prophecies dealing with the land. You deal with the prophecies of how the Edomites would get into the land. This is Ezekiel 36, verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which is just the Greek way of saying Edom, and you Edomites are you so-called white people, which have appointed my land into their possession. They weren't brought back into the land by Yahweh Bahasham Yahavushai. Those Edomites got the land by appointing it to themselves, beginning with the Balfour Declaration in 1917, and then further cemented with the Israeli Declaration of Independence and UN charters in 1948. And ever since then, there's been violence in the land. You had the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, the 6 Days War in 1967, and constant conflict between the Israelis and Palestinians, who are Arabs, or so-called Arabs, who are Ishmaelites, who also don't belong into the land. And violence is going to continue all the way up until the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, or that War of Armageddon, and the land of Israel will be hit with nuclear missiles to purge it of you Amalekite Edomites. With the joy of all their heart, with the spiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. Now let's get into this article, just further proving that you Amalekite Edomites aren't the people. Sirens blared in Jerusalem after several rockets were fired on the city on Monday. Hamas has claimed responsibility for the attack, launched after it ordered Israeli forces to withdraw from some areas amid escalating tensions. A spokesperson for Hamas's military branch said it had fired rockets at Jerusalem in response to Israeli crimes and aggression, including against people in the Palestinian neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah, where families are facing forced eviction, and at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Following the rocket launches, Israel dispatched troops to the Gaza border, and its Air Force launched strikes on alleged Hamas targets, according to Haaretz. Palestinian media have reported that 3 children were killed in those strikes. Footage posted to social media appeared to show rockets being fired towards Jerusalem from Gaza, one of which reportedly landed near Abu Ghosh area. And this is from Miriam Barghouti's Twitter page. 3 rockets fired from Gaza towards Jerusalem. One landed near Abu Ghosh. Let's play this clip.
بالحج هي صوت الثاني.
From Shihab Agency's Twitter page. Back in Isaiah 60, verse 18, violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise. And you Amalekite Edomites are supposed to be the true children, huh? There have not been any reports of injuries, but one rocket reportedly caused some damage to a house, according to Israeli broadcaster Channel 12. Israel's military said 7 rockets were fired towards Jerusalem, one of which was intercepted, with the rest landing in open areas, the Times of Israel reported. The Israeli Defense Force, or IDF, also said in a statement that a barrage of rockets were being fired towards southern Israel, Salakia. Where was I at? The Israeli Defense Force also said in a statement that a barrage of rockets was being fired towards southern Israel. It said a civilian vehicle had been struck in the area and 1 person was injured. Hundreds injured after Israeli forces storm Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem amid ongoing Palestinian protests. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land. Earlier on Monday, the IDF announced that it was suspending large-scale drills in order to prepare for potential violence as tensions escalated in Jerusalem. In a statement, Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Aviv Kohavi said troops were being ordered to focus all efforts on preparation and readiness for escalation scenarios. On Monday, Israelis marked Jerusalem Day to honor the establishment of Israeli control over the Old City after the 6 Days War in 1967. And again, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession. On Monday, Israelis marked Jerusalem Day to honor the appointment of Israeli control over the Old City after the 6-Day War in 1967. However, earlier in the day, Israeli police changed the route of the traditional flag-waving ceremony so that Jews were barred from the Holy Temple Mount site, an area sacred for Muslims. Hundreds of people were also reported to have been injured earlier when Israeli forces fired stun grenades and gas canisters in Al-Aqsa Mosque. Tensions have increased in Jerusalem over the last week amid multiple protests against the eviction of Palestinian families from the areas of East Jerusalem claimed by Israel. That's it with this article. As you can clearly see, it's just another cut to you Amalekite Edomites, showing that you're not the true people and you don't belong there. Now I'm going to close it out in Micah chapter 4, verses 1 to 3, just to further hammer in that nail in the coffin of you Amalekite Edomites. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains. And in the scriptures, mountains can be symbolic for power structures or governments. And this is talking about the kingdom of heaven being established, beginning with the elect, the 144,000 and the rest of the righteous 1/3. And it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the words of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And you're clearly not seeing this happen with those Amalekite Edomites over there, posing as the true children of Israel. You've got a lot of people across the planet going against how these Amalekite Edomites treat those Palestinians, and you don't see the majority of the planet wearing Shirley Temple curls, yarmulkes on their head, speaking Yiddish, or reading from the Talmud. And also in the the land of Israel right now. You've got kosher pork, which is complete madness, and Tel Aviv is known as Pink City, and it's one of the hot spots for the Pride movement all across the planet. And he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. And as we saw from that article, these nations clearly haven't put down their weapons and are not learning war anymore. As the title read, rockets were fired on Jerusalem in an attack claimed by Hamas. And then, like I said earlier, when those Amalekite Edomites had the land appointed into their hands, you immediately had the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, and then in 1967, you had the 6 Days War, and World War III, which will be nuclear, hasn't even happened yet. So point blank period, Amalek, you just don't have it. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharala. And until next time, Shalom.